All right, welcome to another live Real Talk Tuesdays web show. My name is Justin Messina, alongside Victor Dadaj tonight. Rob Shepard might come by. I'm not really sure yet, but as always, we do these Real Talk Tuesdays, Tuesday nights, 8 o'clock Eastern, and talking about lifestyle topics, all kinds of different really good discussion, debate kind of topics. So tonight is all about the title of this talk is being blind to our faults, or how do we look at things in a way where we can see things for what they really are and dive into our personal growth in a way where we're not being caught up by things that, you know, our communication with other people, our daily activities, whatever it is, how can we do things in a way where we can move past obstacles that we have and see things for what they really are? So I'm going to give a chance for Victor to go ahead and introduce himself before we get into it. Victor, take it away.
Yeah, thanks, Justin. My name is Victor Diraj. I'm an internet lifestyle coach, and I'm glad to be here. You can my website is victordidaj.com, and that's about it. Thanks.
Awesome. So yeah, again, my name is Justin Messina, and I'm a health and lifestyle coach, and Victor's an awesome person, and this is going to be a great topic tonight. So without further ado, let's get right into it. So one thing that I really want to talk about on this particular topic is when when I think about being blind to our faults, I start to think about ways that we become blind to reality, right? So I have 3 points that I just want to hit on really quick, and what it all comes down to is seeing a clear reality. So the 3 points I have are: number one, we might have a tendency to be impressed by other people, right? So we're looking up to people who we see, and we either are we're in their sort of niche if they're doing something that we feel like we're passionate about, but we see them doing something so great and they're really doing something big, and we tend to look up to people in a way where we're thinking like, how could I ever be like them, or I'm trying to be just like them, and it can really be a downfall because we start to like undervalue ourselves and we start to think that something's unattainable or that that person is so much could be better than us even. So I think being impressed by others is generally a negative thing. Um, Probably going to hit on this a few times tonight, different concepts. So I'm just going to kind of go right through it quickly. Number two, expecting or the expectation that you want more from others, or people aren't giving you what you think they should give you, right? So you're kind of expecting like more of like perfection from other people, and this is a downfall as well because we start to think that we deserve something from other people, or that they should give more or be nicer to us or be more respectful of us, and so on. So that's another, I think, another way we can become blind to this reality of how we're living, and not see our own faults within that, of kind of looking for other people's faults or what they could do better, how they treat us, or even just their own life. I think you can look at somebody and say, you know, what can they be doing better in their life? It's a lot easier to see somebody else's faults than to look and see your own, right? Just like it's actually a good collaborative move to, if I say, hey Victor, like what do you see that I'm doing that I could be doing better, right? Because he's probably going to be able to see things in me that I can't see in myself just based on a third person strategy, right? So the third point I wanted to make on this topic is about judging others. So there's a lot of different ways to judge others. So I kind of just hit on that. You can, all right, Rob's here, so I'll let him come in just a second. With judging others, you can be making an initial judgment about somebody, and that could be, I talked about being impressed by others, expectation of others, but you can judge someone in any way that's not in reality. But you can also judge by a third person point of view. So someone could be judging a person, and you could start to get an impression of the person based on what someone else is saying about them, or the picture they're being painted as, and so that's another way we can kind of distort reality. And this is all ways that we can become blind to what's actually happening. So obviously, topic of this is blind to our own faults, but it also can work in a lot of different ways with different people. And so as we go on, we're going to get into more of the how do we get past this? How do we get past these types of situations and get into a place where we can see a very clear reality. So, Rob, I'm really happy you were able to you come by tonight. So why don't you jump in, brother?
Okay, Rob Shepard here. Just want to jump in real quick and go over this awesome topic that Justin actually came up with. I thought it was actually posted on my status. When I got it, I was just like, wow, because you know what? I was one of those persons. I was that individual with that topic, so I know exactly how to relate to it as far as putting myself into that position. And I also put it on Facebook and asked that how many of you can relate to that topic, because the only way we can fix the issue is when we admit what is right and what is wrong. So Justin, take it away, brother.
Yeah, actually, I wanted to just make that point about seeing a clear reality and the different ways that we can become. I just hit on just 3 ways. There's a ton of different ways you can become kind of blind to what we're doing, or what is really. A lot of times we're not identifying the right challenge, like what's the right obstacle that we should be focusing on and how to move forward. And that's why it's so important to have a great group of people to be around too, like 2 guys I have with me tonight, like 2 great people that you can really ask them, hey, Victor, what's going on? What do you see in me? What am I doing right? What am I doing wrong? What do you think I can improve? So with that said, Victor, I want you to give you a chance now, because I just been kind of just put a whole spiel out there. So go ahead, take it away, man.
No, I think you hit on a lot of good points with your 3 statements before, and I agree totally with that. You do have to have an openness to the fact that, number one, you don't know everything. You're imperfect. You're a human being. You're limited, and sometimes you can just learn from other people. You can have preconceptions and pride, and that'll lead you to judging people, like the imperfections you're talking about, finding faults in everyone, and think. Sometimes you can think you know everything, and you don't. You have to be open. You have 2 ears and 1 mouth. You're supposed to use the ears twice as much. And that can lead to your faults, and that happens to everyone. And even people who've done well, sometimes when they have a lot of success, then they start thinking the success is solely because of them, and they forget the help they got of everyone else. The people that helped them succeed, or or from the creator, and they get very prideful, and then they can get very arrogant. It can often lead to their downfalls. Or just leads to just having or suffering for a while, and then sometimes they realize they made the mistake, they get humbled, and then they reclaim themselves and then reclaim the success they had before. So it can happen to any of us, because it's pride is always lurking. So it's very easy for us to judge. We tend to think, what can this person do? Well, yeah, it's like you said, it's a great idea to ask someone. To say, what can I do to improve? What little faults I have, because you're always subjective by yourself. So you need to find people that are objective. So people that are around you, third-party people, would know you better. So you need to be humble enough to say, I do these things well, but maybe there are other things I can do better. What can I do? You can start on your own, list the qualities yours that are good and qualities you can improve on, and that's a good start. But then ask other people. Ask one of your best friends, someone you trust a lot, saying, can you do me a favor? Can you name 10 good things that I do well, and maybe 5 or 10 things I need to improve on as my friend? I trust you very much, and so please help me. This would do me a lot of good. Being humble and open and not having the preconceptions is extremely important.
Awesome stuff, Victor. Wow, why don't you jump in, brother?
Okay, the thing is, when you actually look at, like, when you started looking at who you are and start looking inward to yourself, that is where the change comes in. Because I've seen, like, even folks that I'm around in my network, and I find that it's very hard for their growth to explode because of the situation of not looking at themselves, as pointing the finger, as looking into a mirror and said, okay, the reason why I'm not where I'm at to be, the reason why I'm not where I need to be today is because of me. And that goes for even relationship. That goes for to advance in our career. That goes for being a better person within life. Because when you started pointing out your faults, don't wait for someone to point out for you. Because you know, I mean, you literally know your faults. I know my faults. I know how to have a successful relationship. I know how to be successful in business. I know how to run a team. But if you start looking at yourself as I'm the greatest, I'm the best, and no one out there is better than me, it's great to do that. But here's what happened. When you start being so positive and it's all about you and not really looking into yourself and saying, all right, you know what? If I'm going through, say for instance, if I have 5 ladies, right? 5 relationships, and I go in and out of relationships all the time, and I keep pointing the finger at that person, says, the reason why I came out of the relationship because it was her fault. Okay, so I go back again, another 2 years, boom, dating someone else for another 2-3 years. Then I come out of that relationship, and that says the reason why I came out of that relationship because it was her fault. Then I go back again to relationship number 3, and I end up that relationship breakup, and I come out of it and it says, you know what, Justin, she was just no good. She was bad. She was this. It was her fault. Then I go to relationship number 4. And same thing happened again by something else different. And guess what I go to Victor and said, hey, Vic, me and her broke up because she was no good. Then I go to 5. Now, if Victor or Justin turned to me and says, Rob, you know what? From I've known you in the past 6 or 7 years, you had 5 different relationships. And you came out of those relationships. And all you did was saying it was their fault. Can't you take a look at yourself as an individual? Look inward at you and find out what are you doing wrong, why these things are happening to you. Now, here's what happened now. I'm going to sit back now big-chested because Vic told me that, or Justin told me that, and I'm going to get upset because now they're my friend and I need them to side with me. Why are you against me? But see, they're not against me. They are only being truthful, and they are helping me to look forward for growth, that I can expand my growth, that I can grow a better growth, that I can now have a better relationship. And that's where we go wrong, because we don't want to hear the truth from our friends or our colleagues. So when our colleagues actually said that to us, we get offensive. But see, I was that person. I wanted my friends to say to me, oh, you're right, man, she was a jerk. You're right, man, she was no good. You're right, because that's what I want to hear. But when my friend looked at me and said, you know what, go handle your business, that means read between the lines. He ain't giving you any answer to the situation. He's saying go handle your business. Now, once I take a look at myself and realize, guess where the problem was? It was me. It wasn't those 5 ladies. It wasn't those 5 relationships I had. It was me. And you know why it was me? Because I was arrogant. I believed that the world revolved around me. I felt that I was making enough money, that I didn't need them. So the moment they say boo, I say go. And that wasn't the right thing to do. So I'm using those things as example that take a look at yourself. We have to take a look at ourselves. And don't always point the finger, because the moment we're pointing the finger, it's going to only stun our growth. I've seen it happening day in and day out, where we're struggling to grow and we're stuck in the same rut for all these years, and we keep blaming. Now, right, all of a sudden, now people are blaming Obama. How are you going to blame Obama for your financial issues? How are we going to blame Obama because our job let us go? We know there was a situation happening. Victor knew there's a situation happening. Justin knew there's a situation happening. I knew there's a situation happening. So why would I blame Obama? Why wouldn't I look at myself? Obama didn't give me a credit card and says, go ahead and go charge an iPad on it. Go ahead and go get a MacBook Pro. Go ahead and go finance a $27,000 car. He didn't do that, right? So now you can't afford to pay your bill, or we can't afford to pay our bills. The jobs are letting go. Now we blame someone else instead of looking at ourselves and says, hey, from the get-go, they did say, for you to make it in this day and age, you got to build your own economy. That was clear. I thought that was very clear and precise. So why are we now blaming someone else? Look at ourselves. And that's how come I have seen success. That's how come I can be able to make it in supposedly quote-unquote a bad economy. That's how come I can live the lifestyle I desire to live, because I look at myself and I point the finger at me. And until this day, I still point the finger at me. That's how come I'm growing. And so that's just to throw it out there, something that you need to take a look at. Don't look around and say, I'm not married because of him. I'm not married because of her. Look at yourself. And I mean, every man or every woman wants to be married. Every woman, every man wants to be with someone. And you guys may think, oh no, they're not married material or they're not committed material. No, that's not true. But here's what happened. We have to change what's going on within us. Every one of us wants to be successful. Every one of us wants to grow. But we have to change what's in us. We have to look at life as what we can do differently today to be better tomorrow. Not, okay, you know what? I can't get further because Justin is just in my way. I'm tired of Justin in my way. I'm tired of Victor in my way. No one is in a way. Point the finger and says, you know what? I'm tired of not trying. I'm tired of not waking up 2 hours early before work, that I can do something different to get to where I need to be. It's you. It's me. It's Justin. It's Victor. We own our own destiny. So that's just how we have to take a good look at inward to see what you can do differently. And point the finger at yourself and you will rise faster.
Yeah. Yeah, you just made me think of a few things, Rob. Number one, first of all, Jesus, was saying, why are you looking at the fault, the mote in your brother's eye and not look at the ones in your own? Because we tend to always find fault in others, but we need to focus on ourselves. I mean, ultimately, we're the ones responsible for what, most of our faults, but we try to blame other people. And like you said, when we having a problem relationship, we have 5 different girlfriends, and and we break up with all, we always say there was something wrong with her, but maybe there was something wrong with us, and we don't like it when our friends point out, hey, look, maybe you did something wrong. But that's what a true friend does. He'll point out the fact, hey, Victor, you need to change this about you. Otherwise, you're always going to have a problem with your relationship, whether with women, with coworkers, or people in your company. I mean, that's why you're having problems all around. So we always need to be open to these things. And also, you're saying, look at yourself. You got to change yourself. And this made me think of a post I wrote today on asking the proper questions. This is something both Tony Robbins and Mark Harbison talk about a lot, is you got to change the questions that you're asking yourself, because if you're asking the wrong, negative, disheartening questions, your mind's going to feed on that. So instead of saying, why isn't I have no money, you should be asking the question, how can I make more money? Or instead of saying, why do my relationships stink, ask, how can I improve my relationships? How can I be a better friend? How can I be a better listener? And instead of saying, why can't I meet Mr. or Mrs. Right, ask yourself, how can I go about becoming a better person so I can meet Mr. or Mrs. Right? You need to change the kind of question. You need to ask empowering questions so that your mind can focus on the more empowering, positive aspects of your life. So when you change the kind of questions you think about, your mind will focus on it, and you will be, number one, the kind of answers you need will come to you, either from yourself or sometimes maybe even from your friends. Maybe when your friends point it out to you, you might be more open to it because you're looking for it. So it depends on what are you looking for. So what is your focus on? Is it on the negative stuff that makes you weaker, or is it on the positive stuff that will empower you? So I would definitely recommend ask more empowering questions.
Yeah, that's perfect, Victor. Like, that's a great word too, like empowerment. I kind of want to run with this right now. And when we think about empowerment, it all comes down to like the people you're around as well, because, and I could say this from personal experience, you can be around a group of people where you're sort of, Rob's example of the relationships, right? You could be in a romantic relationship with someone and it doesn't work, and you could say, oh, well, that person, whatever, that person wasn't right, or that person, wasn't for me, whatever. But your friends, if they say, yeah, she was no good for you, or and you, if you're going through that cycle that Rob was talking about, like you just keep the same thing keeps happening with you, and you're not looking at yourself, but your friends aren't empowering you if they're saying, yeah, you're right, like you're right, you're better than that, or whatever, and they're just feeding into it. That's not empowerment. That's enabling, right? Those are enablers for your behaviors. So a lot of times, like what Victor said, a real friend is not an enabler. It's someone who empowers you. So the way that you empower people is to say things that aren't always nice or not always the thing that people want to hear. You're not catering to their ego, or you're not catering to them, making them happy with everything you say, but you're actually telling them something, giving them something, and doing it in a nice way. You don't have to be a jerk about it, but you can speak to them and say, look, like, I've noticed this about you. I don't want to give you I don't want to come off as giving you advice or anything like that. I just want to make you aware of this, and you can do whatever you want with it. So in that way, there's like a huge difference, obviously, between like empowering someone and enabling their bad behavior or something that is putting them in a place where they don't want to be. So yeah, with that said, I want to make another point on, we've all went through our unique experiences in our life, and it's just such a wealth of experiences that each person has gone through that we're all so different, and we can be like, it's awesome how we can come on this hangout. We can be so on the same. I feel like the three of us right now, we're talking about this. We're so like in alignment with what we're discussing, but it's awesome that can happen because we've all come from very different places in our lives, right? So this is a thing that happens where we have all different interpretations of every single event that happens in our life. We all have a unique lens how we see the world. So, to understand how we see the world and understand how others see us is making the clarity of the reality, as I kicked off the show with, is so crucial, because that's where you can get to a place where you can help yourself out. That's where you can get to a place where you can help your friends out. And when you start to get to that place where you really are taking the responsibility and you're putting yourself in a position where you're like, I'm going to be the person who asks the right questions. I'm going to be the person who puts myself out there, and I'm going to be a leader of things. You're going to be doing things that other people aren't doing. The little actions that put you in a place of responsibility, and you're gaining trust and respect from people around you. And what happens is people, the same type of people always flock together in groups. So if you're around people who are enabling bad activities from other people, you see people doing the same things and they're never really getting anywhere in their life, and you don't want to be that person. You need to start to create a new path for yourself. And the more that you put yourself in an empowerment state of mind and around empowering people, then you can more quickly, it's kind of like magic almost, you can more quickly be in a conversation with someone and know exactly where they're at. I mean, I can remember from the past, and I hear this from people all the time that I talk to, where it's like, I don't know where to go next. I don't know who to trust, or who to take advice from, or who to even hang out with. And what happens is people you can get so wrapped up in, is this person someone I can trust, or is this person someone I want to like be around? But the more that you come into your own and you start to embrace, what is actually happening around me, and being really honest with yourself, then you can get into conversations eventually where, I could have a conversation with Rob, and if I didn't know Rob and I had a conversation with him, I would know within probably 2 minutes that he's someone that I want to talk more to. And vice versa, if I talk to someone else and I could know in 2 minutes that they're not someone that I want to talk to anymore, or someone that I don't want in my influence, right? It's not a negative thing or a putting someone down type of thing. It's just, who do you want around you, and how important it is to you to get where you want to go and live in a reality, because it's just as easy to find a comfort zone of people who are all enabling bad behaviors, or bad is a relative term, but behaviors that aren't going to move you forward in life. They're just going to keep you where you're at, and it's comfortable and it's fine, but is that what you want? I don't think so. I think you want more. So if you want more, then empowering other people, and it starts with yourself. So with that said, I'll kick it over to one of you guys.
That's the thing is that's and it's like for instance, so you and I work together. I may see things one way and you see it another, but there's something that I don't see that you are going to see. And it makes life a lot easier in any type of relationships, type of business, because we never get into a huge, like, big debate about things. We just, because there's something that you see that I didn't see. And that also goes for relationships. I mean, when you're building a relationship with anyone, whether it's a friendship relationship, you open-minded is an awesome thing to have, because if you're not open-minded, that's where the growth process starts. I mean, because like I said, I've been around it and I've seen folks today that still in the same place and not haven't been moved for years. And we can move, but we're still waiting for change to come to us instead of looking to change and going after change and really admit that, you know what, these things need to change within me that I can move forward. And sometimes I wish I can turn around and I can say to an individual, but it's I would rather the person ask the question and said, hey, you know what? I'm open to listen to what you have to say and really have strong bones to take it. And it's not a bad thing. It's not a beat up session. All it is just, and it's not like you're putting it on paper. It's not like you're going to put it in somebody's Word file or it's going to go. It's all it is. It's another person's opinion of you by seeing how you operate, seeing what you're doing, even though the opinion of that individual doesn't make you. But if you're looking and saying, you know what, like for instance, let me use me for example. If I'm being an internet marketer for say 2 years, and I'm still going at it, and a professional internet marketer look and says, you know what, Rob, I can tell you what you're doing wrong, or I can tell you what you're doing incorrectly. You're posting stuff about nutrition. That's not internet marketing. Or you're doing this. Now, that's someone from outside looking at what you're doing and saying, okay, this is what you need to change to go forward. But instead of me being arrogant and big-chested and don't look at it and accept it and don't change, then I keep doing the same thing over and over. That's a form of insanity. So now 4 years down the line, I'm still repeating the same thing and I didn't change because of what? Being big-chested, being ignorant. So those things are what will stunt our growth. And we can even take a look at statistics and see how these things marry together and saying, okay, what do successful people do that we're not doing? Are they getting up every day and working a job, or are they going into a position where they're listening, they're following people that are not leaders, or they, what are they doing differently? Are they reading empowerment books on a daily basis? Are we looking at things that can empower and encourage us to grow to the next level? Those are things that they're doing that we're not doing. And that's when we have to look at it and admit to it, and that's how come we're going to start seeing positive and more empowering growth within us. And that goes for marriage, that goes for business, that goes for whatever it is, because we all have a position in us, we all have a place in us to grow. But it's done for some reason in some of us, and I did a post the other day, and I said, do we celebrate our friends' success? When we see our friends achieve things in life, do we celebrate? Do we feel happy because Justin just bought a Mac? Do I feel happy that Justin just bought a Lamborghini? Do I celebrate those things? And realistically, you can tell. I mean, even on Facebook, not because you have 5,000 friends, that doesn't mean that they're your friend. That doesn't mean that they're your friend, because if we think that 5,000 friends on our Facebook list is our friend, there's people there that still envy you because of what you're doing. But why envy a person when you can simply inbox Justin, you can inbox Victor and says, hey, you know what are you doing that you can help me? And I'm 99.5% know that Justin and Victor are not going to say, nope, I will not share what I'm doing with you. I know that. So why envy that individual? So now, guess what that's going to do with your growth? Stun your growth. It will stun our growth. The moment we start having an envy in another person, because we are not willing to sacrifice today for tomorrow, then we look back and said, you know what? Here we go again. The growth start being stunned because we don't want to celebrate another person's success. And I post that, and I thought it was a valid post because I felt that I'm seeing it out there where things are happening, and when someone comes to me and say, you know what, I just quit my job because I purchased a franchise. You know how good that let me feel? Because for someone to take the step, go on out on a leap, trust in he or she self, and go out there, that's powerful. So all we have to do is just celebrate that individual, and guess what they're going to do for us? It would help us towards our growth also. So, that's just a point I wanted to throw in there, and that's something that can help us all. Don't envy anyone for whatever they're doing within life, because envying someone, all it's going to do for you is keep you backwards and keep you going backwards instead of moving forward.
That's so true, and it's part of those negative emotions I was discussing before. And as Justin was also saying, the people you choose, hang around empowering people who are going to build you up and point out what you need to do differently, and keep away from the negative people, because the negative people are going to drag you down. And that applies to Facebook friends too. If you have 5,000 Facebook friends, as Rob pointed out, not all of them are your friends. Maybe like 1,000 of them might be jealous or envious of you. And maybe you need to unfriend those people and necessarily block them. For me, I used to be focused on trying to get as many Facebook friends as possible, but over the past month or two, I've been trying to get rid of the ones that are negative, that never interact with me, that are not empowering me or helping me anyway. And I've just been focusing on those that are really more of my friends. And I find that I've been happier, and I've been doing much better as a result. And yes, envy is very dangerous. It'll lead you down a dangerous path. You should just because you need to focus on being happy for other people. When you're happy, when you're happy for other people's good fortunes, good things will tend to follow, because you're focusing on empowering good things. And don't let that get to you. But there's so many people that do stuff like that. What they don't realize is, what good do you get out of by envying this person? The person didn't steal for you in any way. They didn't harm you. They didn't burn your house down. They didn't do anything bad to you, so you have absolutely no reason to be envious of them. You just desire something that they have. But the thing is, they worked hard for it. They busted their butt. They probably paid their dues for many years, and that's probably why they got it. And so you should, instead, as Rob was saying, you should ask, saying, how did you do that? How did you, recruit 100 people, 3,000 people, whatever? How are you making 7 figures a year? Can you teach me? Like you said, most people, if you ask them for advice, they're willing to help you. Ask them to mentor you. Go to people who've had more success and ask them, can you help me out? Will you mentor me? Will you coach me? And the majority of people are willing to help you, because most successful people don't hoard it in. They want to share what they have with other people and help them succeed. Most of them want to serve other people. You should be focusing on serving others. When you focus on serving, you're empowering yourself and you're empowering other people, and as a result, everyone does better and everyone will tend to be more successful. And just one last thing about being open, just to show you the difference as to how the way you may think, the way you act, can often be quite different from the way other people see you. Think of the way you sound, because you can't really tell how your voice really sounds, but the way your voice sounds to other people is different. And you realize that's the case is when you listen to a recording to your voice, you all of a sudden say, wow, do I really sound like that? You don't realize how different you sound until you hear it, but your friends and the other people know that you do. And it's the same way, the way you interact, the way you behave. You think you come across one way, but very often to other people you may come across a little bit differently, which is why, with your true friends, you might want to ask them, I know I'm doing all this well, I'm doing this great, but is anything else you can point out to me I'm doing wrong? And they can say, yeah, Victor, you're doing this wrong. Sometimes you're a little bit of a know-it-all, or whatever. So that's just something to keep in mind. You don't always, the way you appear to yourself can be sometimes pretty different from the way you appear to others.
So true. So definitely so true. And I think one of the key things with how you can sort of approach this whole thing of like, how do I be real with myself? Notice your language. Notice how you speak about yourself. Like if someone gives you some insight, like, hey, I think you're being a little like closed-minded there, and notice like how you're responding to different things. That people, sometimes it can be people giving you advice that you don't really care to hear their advice, but how are you responding to things, right? So if you're saying things like, I'm not closed-minded, or I don't need that. If you just are kind of dismissive with every time some information comes at you, then that's probably not a great thing if you're trying to like grow as a person. So when it comes down to it, I think like when you interact with other people, you can it's like this balancing act. I feel like where you're taking everything with a grain of salt. So like Rob said, you don't have to let people change. Like people's words don't have to affect you. You're still you, but you can take it and you can work with it, right? And I think the overriding theme with that is ego, because ego is the thing that makes you say, no, I don't need to listen to that. I'm just fine how I am. Or, I don't need to grow. I'm fine where I'm at. I love where I'm at in my life. I don't need anything else. I'm perfect. And that's great if you're like absolutely happy, but as human beings, we're never there. We never get to the destination and we're like, oh, I have everything I need. There's always something that you're striving for. Even if you've gotten to a place in your life that you feel great about, there's always something to go for, right? So, it's just a silly thing when I see people like do that. I think like there's more for that person a lot of times, but a lot of times their ego and maybe a lack of courage just doesn't let them like move forward. And it's so important to just do everything you can to like drop the ego, because it's something that is in play all the time. I'm sitting here talking about this topic. I know that my ego gets in the way of situations that I'm in all the time. Like I just noticed it. Like I was talking to someone last night about a challenge that I'm going through, and like someone who's an expert in this field, and I was like, how do I get through this? And she's giving me like pointers and stuff, and I noticed my ego kicking in, or I'm about to think like, well, I kind of know what to do here, so I'm not going to listen to this. So it gets in the way, and you just need to be careful with it. So, with that said, ego is one of the biggest things like you could probably take out of anything if you want to make personal growth. Like, it's just understand that the ego is in play all the time. It makes people do crazy things. It stops people from amazing opportunities sometimes, where people are literally choosing ego over friends, or ego over money that's right in front of them to gain. So it's a really key concept. Another thing that really applies to everything we've been talking about tonight is this idea of competition, where you could be looking for someone and really looking up to someone and putting them on a pedestal, like they're so great, or you can be trying to it's more than a role model, where we're sort of like looking at someone like Victor is talking about envy, these types of feelings where it's like a competitive sense. And the way that the world really works is, it's really excuse me, it's really a choice. You can be someone who's competing. You're in an industry, or you're in a lifestyle where you're competing with other people, or you can be someone who's just more creative, or someone who is, you're not in that game, right? You're choosing a different path, and you're just going to say, okay, I'm going to do what I'm going to do, and that in itself takes you out of the competition game. So if you could just say there's no competition, and a great quote is, if you be yourself, this is a business quote, but you could kind of insert word here, be yourself in your business, in your life, in your relationships, and there is no competition, right? So if you just be yourself and you just go after your way of doing things and growing and not letting your ego get in the way and all these things we were talking about, then you can get to a place where you're not competing with other people and you're not looking up to other people or feeling bad about where you're at. Just always strive to be better, right? And look inward and say, it's okay where I'm at. I have faults. It's okay. I'm human. So, but now I'm going to move forward, and I'm going to go to another place. I'm going to level up, and eventually you'll see yourself, and you'll look back and you'll be like, I can't even recognize my old life. So with that said, guys, we're going to wrap up pretty soon. So maybe if you guys have some last minute thoughts on this.
I had another young lady was getting on, but she was going to try. She saw the topic and was like, "Whoa, this is an awesome topic," but I think she was having some trouble trying to get on. I would have loved for she to come, and I would have loved to hear her points of view on it. But go ahead, Victor.
Yeah, I'm not just talking about what Justin said. Yeah, just be happy with yourself. Be yourself. Don't be so insecure about yourself. A lot of people out there afraid like they got to be someone else. It's okay to look up to someone, but don't make them an idol. If you respect someone, whether it's Robert Kiyosaki, Tony Robbins, whoever, that's fine, and you may want to like follow some of the things they do, but be yourself. That's who people are looking for. They want to know who the true is. They want to know who the true Justin is. They want to know who the true Robert is or who the true Victor is. They want to know who you are, and if you're yourself, number one, they're going to like you more, and number two, you're going to be more comfortable with yourself. Because when you try to be someone else, you tend to be more miserable. God made you a certain way, and you got to be that way. So just focus on being the person you are. It even comes down to relationships. Like when guys try to be something different to girls, girls get turned off by it. Because they think they got to act a certain way, but when they tend to be themselves, girls tend to accept them more and are more likely to be attracted to them. So really, just be yourself. People are going to accept you. Don't be so insecure about yourself. And also going back to ego, Justin, a lot of the successful people, they have, you may say they have an ego, but they actually are humble enough to realize they don't know everything. They know they could keep learning. I know Donald Trump says, every day I try to learn something new because I know there's so much more I don't know. And many of the other successful people say the same thing, and that's one of the reasons they remain successful. They continue doing what they do right, but they also know there's more they can learn and do, and they listen to other people, other successful people, and we should strive to do the same thing. We should always strive to learn more because there's an infinite amount of things out there, and we're finite beings, so we can always continue learning. So always remember that. You can learn something new every day and just be open to that. You never know, it might come from your friend, it might come from something on the internet, it may come from watching the news. Yep. Just be open.
Yeah, come on.
Awesome.
Oh, come on over, man.
Oh, what's going on, Rob?
Oh, yeah?
I am, actually.
Here you go. I got a gentleman here want to say hello. He said he's a philosopher himself.
Hello. Yeah, I heard your guys' conversation. I was sitting over here for probably like 30 minutes, something like that. You guys are saying some cool stuff, man. I believe that, too. I learn something new every single day. I believe in astrology. You guys are... What you're saying is cool. I'm listening.
Cool.
Yeah. Awesome, man.
Awesome.
Yeah, so we're just about to wrap up here, and we have these Real Talk Tuesdays every single Tuesday, 8 o'clock Eastern, and you can. I want to actually let Rob, because you came in late, Rob. How can people find you?
You can find me at shepherdfit.info, and it's spelled like shepherd in the Bible, SHEPHERD. fit.info, and you also can find me at changewithrob.com and connect with me and Facebook. Love to hear from you, and we're here to help you, guide you whatever way you possible. And as just like Victor was talking about that topic, that be yourself. I saw a post the other day, and sometimes we try to model others, but you can model others, but try to be better. Don't be that person. Be you, because people will buy you. If you're trying to fake it or trying to do something that you're not, guess what's going to happen? People can see through you, and we call it a paper thin. See right through you. All right? So, again, love to connect with you.
Awesome. And Victor, you kind of went over like how people can find you, but if you have anything else, you want to share?
No, that's about it. Just trust in yourself. Realize you have a lot to offer people. Don't get over egotistical at the same time, but realize you have a lot to offer. Be yourself, and focus on empowering thoughts, and surround yourself with friends that will empower you, and you will go a long way.
Awesome. That's a great way to close out there. And I just want to say again, my name's Justin Messina. You can find me at justin-messina.com. More Real Talk Tuesday shows on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/jmesslife. We will see you next week, and like we say at the end of every single Real Talk Tuesdays show, live vision fit, we're out.